Hi, my name is George Astris. I'm the owner of LPI Security Group. One of the things I also do is I teach the 8-hour New York State Security Guard licensing course, and I'm a retired NYPD lieutenant. The reason I'm making this video is there's a few quick points I want to touch upon regarding when law enforcement retires and goes into what we call the private field doing security, and now they went from operating under police powers to operating under citizens' powers. There's a few key points that I want to point out. I've seen it happen. I've been guilty of some of them. One of them is be careful of the ego from the police world into the civilian world. The other thing, and the most important thing, is getting triggered back into police mode, which happens more often than it should, and sometimes it's for honorable reasons. And what I'm talking about is triggering. Now in the private world, you have a client that's paying you to protect their property, to protect their interests. Something's happening across the street that has nothing to do with the client, but you see somebody in distress and you take police action by leaving your post and going across the street to help that person out while you're getting paid by somebody privately. That's what I call triggering. You're no longer a public servant. I understand for the majority of your life, my life, you spend it in your first career, and in your first career, you took an oath, to protect and serve. You also, in your first career, you saw a criminal, you caught a criminal. Now you go to the private world, and a lot of clients tell you we don't want you hands on with anybody. We don't want you detaining anybody. We want positive customer experience, and that's what you're there for. Customer experience, making the customers feel safe. So when you have somebody that's committing a crime, shoplifting, and the client's telling you let it go, you have to be able to let it go because sometimes they don't want that negative experience of other customers seeing a commotion, a fight. You don't know the duty bound to make arrests, so let it go. Apply by the clients. But when I talk about triggering, you have to be careful. An example I could give is say that you're working in an office building, nice gig. What you have to do is have people sign in, when they enter the building as visitors. You might have to watch the packages in the lobby that got delivered, and that's it. Nice easy day. But while you're working, somebody comes into the building and says, "Excuse me, officer, there's a woman across the street and she's being chased by a guy with a knife and she needs help." That might be enough to trigger you to leave your post and go across the street to help the woman that needs help, forgetting that somebody else is paying you to protect their interests. They're not paying you to be a public servant anymore. So now, say you go across the street because you got triggered into police mode, and it ends well. You put the person on the citizen's arrest. Take him in custody. The police come and get him, and now you spend the rest of the day at the police station. You just abandoned your post. You left the client exposed for an entire day because you took action for something that had nothing to do with the client. Say it ends bad. You go across the street and the person breaks their wrist, and now they want to sue you. The lawyers are not just going to sue you because they don't want your pension. They want the money that the building has, and they want the money that your security company has. So now they're going to sue your security company saying that an employee of theirs. They're going to sue the building saying that their security went across the street and did this. So you just dragged your client into something that had nothing to do with them. So you got to start thinking like a civilian. There's a person across the street with a knife. What do? You call the police. You maybe lock down the building so that way you're protecting your client in case that person decides to come running into your building. Lock it down. Make sure that they stay outside the building and you're protecting your client and their interests. That's the way you have to think, and you have to be careful not to get triggered. The other thing you have to be careful with is in your police days, if everything came up to you, point to somebody and said that person committed that crime. That person just robbed me, and you go and grab that person before they had a chance to run, detain them, and now go back to the victim and find out exactly what happened. Now in the private world, you have to know for in fact the crime was committed, so you can no longer do that. Say you work at retail, and the manager comes up to you and says that person that's walking out right now just shoplifted $200 worth of items. Grab him. If you don't know for a fact that person grabbed those items and you grab them and they didn't shoplift, guess who's liable? You are. You just put somebody in custody and then he committed a crime. Say that person saw the manager talking to you and realizes that you might stop them and they put the items back before they walk out. You can't sit there and say I was following orders. That's not a thing anymore. Say the manager told me they should be liable. No, you're responsible for your actions. You put them in custody, you put them in citizen's arrest, you have to know for a fact they committed the crime. If somebody else is telling you they committed the crime, I'll be a little careful on that. The other thing you have to be careful getting triggered is chasing people. In the private world, insurance is the only thing that protects you. Your playground's a lot smaller. You can no longer chase somebody into the woods, across the highway, wherever you used to chase people. Now you have to stay on the property, and sometimes it's difficult. Because if you're working in a jewelry store and the store owner comes and tells you that guy right there has $50,000 ring that he's about to walk out with, and the guy takes your money and you chase him, once you're off that property, the insurance won't cover you. The jewelry store's insurance won't cover you because you're off the property. Your security company's insurance won't cover you because you're off site. And you might sit there and argue, what do you mean? What do you mean? It's hot pursuit. The crime started inside the store. They should cover me. No. You tackle that person 4 blocks away and they break their wrist and they sue you, the insurance is going to be happy to wash their hands of it and say, nope, didn't happen on our location. Same thing if you took your dog for a walk and you got hit by a car 3 houses away. The homeowner's insurance is not going to be nice if they're like, you know what, the walk started at the house, we'll cover your medical bills. They love nothing better than to deny a claim. You leave the site, you're 100% on your own. So you got to be careful not to get triggered by having somebody tell you what to do. Go get them. Having somebody telling you, grab that person, they did this, when you didn't see it. You have to realize that you're operating under different rules, regulations. Your authority is a little different. So you're easily more accessible to being sued because you could easily go beyond your authority by grabbing people, detaining people, stopping people. So be careful not to get triggered back into your police days. I appreciate you guys watching the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments.